All right, today on The Explainer, we're diving into something pretty chilling. It's a theory that tries to answer a huge cosmic question, and honestly, it's terrifying. We're talking about the dark forest theory.
I mean, for centuries, anytime we've looked up at the night sky, the big question has always been the same, right? Are we alone out here? It's the question that drives so much of our curiosity, our sci-fi, our desire to explore.
But here's the thing. What if that's totally the wrong question to be asking? What if the silence we're hearing from out there isn't because the universe is empty, but because of something much, much darker?
Yeah, this theory flips the whole thing on its head. The question isn't, where is everybody? It's, why is everybody hiding? And figuring that out, well, that's the key to the whole dark forest idea.
Okay, so to really get the dark forest, we've got to start with this big cosmic puzzle that astronomers call the Great Silence. And right at the heart of that is the Fermi Paradox. You do the math, and the universe should be teeming with life. Our galaxy alone has billions of stars, tons of them way older than our own sun. So where is everyone? We're listening, we're looking, and we get nothing. Just static. Total silence.
And this is where the dark forest theory drops its horrifying answer. The universe isn't a graveyard. No, it's a battlefield. And that silence, that's the sound of every single civilization out there holding its breath, hoping no one notices them.
So, how does this even work? Well, the whole theory is built on this really brutal but kind of cold, hard logic. Think of them as the rules of cosmic survival. It really just boils down to two core ideas, two axioms. First, survival is the absolute #1 priority for any civilization, period. Second, civilizations are always going to grow and expand, but the stuff in the universe, the resources, that's a fixed amount. And right there, you've got a recipe for conflict. It's almost unavoidable.
But see, this isn't like two countries competing over resources here on Earth. When you're talking about interstellar distances, the mind-boggling scale of it all creates two huge problems. Problems that make trusting anyone else pretty much impossible.
And we've really got to break these two barriers down. They're called the chains of suspicion and the technological explosion. Because let me tell you, this is where the theory goes from interesting to absolutely bone-chilling.
So first up, the chains of suspicion. Let's say you're out there and you detect another civilization. They're light years away. You can't just pick up the phone. It takes centuries for a message to get there. So the first thought you have is, I have no idea if they're friendly or hostile. I can't know their intentions. And of course, they're in the exact same boat looking back at you. They don't know if you're hostile. That's the chain, this inescapable mutual suspicion. But then you add in the other barrier, the technological explosion. And this is a big one. In the centuries it takes for your messages to travel, a civilization's tech can just explode. A species that seems harmless today could become a galactic threat by the time they get your message. There's no way to know. So you put those two together, the chains of suspicion and these unpredictable leaps in technology, and trust becomes literally impossible. And that leads to a really chilling conclusion. Sending a message, any message, is a terrible idea. All it really does is give away your location to someone who might be a threat or could become one. So you see how this works? These axioms, these barriers, they create a universe where the only logical choice is the most ruthless one. And that, right there, is the dark forest. This whole idea was made famous by the author Lou Sixon in his books, and the metaphor is just perfect. He says the universe is like a dark forest at night. Every civilization is a hunter, armed, silent, stalking through the trees like a ghost. You can't see anyone else, but you know they're out there. And the first one to make a sound, well, that's the first one to get shot. If you think about it in terms of game theory, it's a terrifyingly simple choice. You spot another hunter in the trees. You have two options. Option A, you try to communicate. Say hello. If they're hostile, you just gave away your position and you're toast. Option B, you eliminate them before they can eliminate you. You stay hidden, you stay alive. When the price for being wrong is total extinction, there's really only one logical move to make, isn't there? And it's so important to get this part. This isn't about good versus evil. The hunters in this forest, they aren't necessarily monsters. They're not evil. They're just terrified. Every move they make is driven by the most basic instinct there is, the will to survive. Okay, so what does all this mean for us here on Earth? Well, if this theory has even a shred of truth to it,
It means that for the past 100 years or so, we've been making a potentially fatal mistake.
I mean, think about it. Ever since our first powerful radio broadcasts leaked out into space, all the way to actively sending out messages like the Arecibo signal or launching the Voyager probes with a literal map showing how to find us, we have basically been screaming our address into a dark, quiet room. Our techno-signatures are like a giant flashing neon sign in the middle of the forest.
The theory suggests our behavior is, well, it's unbelievably reckless. It's like we're a little kid lost in a massive jungle at night and we know it's full of predators. And our brilliant idea to get saved? Let's light a huge bonfire and start yelling at the top of our lungs. We just assume someone friendly will show up first, completely forgetting about all the hunters hiding in the shadows.
And you know, beyond the whole we might get vaporized thing, this theory has this incredibly deep and lonely philosophical side to it. It really forces you to rethink our entire place in the universe.
You know the idea of the great filter, right? Some cosmic barrier that stops civilizations from going interstellar? Well, the dark forest theory has a wild take on it. The filter isn't some asteroid or a gamma ray burst. The great filter is intelligence itself. It suggests that the very moment a species gets smart enough to look for others, it's also smart enough to realize that it absolutely, positively must hide. What you end up with is a universe that's basically a black hole of social interaction. Everybody is listening, everybody is gathering intel, but nobody dares to transmit anything back out. So that great silence we talked about at the beginning, it's not because no one's home. It's because everyone is home, hiding under the bed. It's a collective, universe-wide act of pure terror. And all of this leaves us with one huge, unsettling question for ourselves, for humanity. We're still out here beaming messages into space, our radio waves spreading farther every second. So we have to ask, if the dark forest is real, if the hunters really are out there listening, isn't it time we learned to shut up?